did it take to get you guys in this room tonight? Like, who had to arrange for, like, babysitting? Anyone got a babysitter for their husband? Anyone? Yeah, right on.
I'm in San Francisco at a gala event celebrating the growth of businesswomen in the booming marijuana industry.
I know we took a lot of people to get us into the room tonight, and I just want to invite you to think about the impact we're making. Will the legal marijuana industry be the first industry not dominated by men?
The business of legitimate marijuana is flourishing, attracting people from all walks of life who are redefining what a pot dealer looks like. This makeover has many people believing that legal pot could spark a different kind of revolution and become the first major industry to be gender balanced. It's an attractive idea, but at every level of the supply chain, women still face obstacles to inclusion. For ganja growers, the legacy of male-dominated criminal culture persists. For small business owners, it can be difficult to find enough female customers to buy their products. And for the female customers, the stigma of being a pothead limits their comfort in entering the cannabis space. I wanted to see how women working across the weed industry are striving to put the Mary in Mary Jane.
And he's dead.
This is the best weed, man. This is organic weed.
I'm in California during harvest season, when countless pot farms reap up to 80% of all the reefer sold in the US each year. Marijuana culture up here has a split identity. Deep ties to the peace and love hippie movement live in contrast to the decades of lawless rule by large-scale growers, which still casts a palpable dread over weed-growing regions like Humboldt County. I'm here to meet trimmers, farm workers who do the painstaking labor of pruning gigantic weed plants into sellable buds. Most trimmers here are women and work on male-owned farms. Many of the people I talk to ask us to keep their identities hidden. You know, it seems pretty gender balanced here. Like it's like dudes and chicks.
Yeah,
like,
especially this camp.
Have you been to places where it's not like where?
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Definitely.
Usually people that are hiring, they look for the pretty women. It's eye candy, and I've heard of jobs where if a woman trims with her bra off and her tits out, she gets paid a little more. So there's a lot of that.
Really?
Yeah.
And then for the women at the table, have you guys been at other camps before?
Yeah.
What's it been like?
It depends. The first one was really a mess. The owner was kind of creepy, like touching me.
I have been in some awful camps also. You need to have adaptation all the time. I don't know what is going to be next. Everything can change.
Does it feel dangerous to be here sometimes?
Yeah, you
for
have
sure.
to be careful.
You're in the mountain with a group of guys you don't really know. At 1 hour driving, no signal, telephone, so of course it can be really dangerous. You have to be careful, more than less, always.
To learn just how bad it can get for women trimming in the mountains, I drove down to the nearest town, to the safety of an undisclosed location, to meet a woman who's been trimming for 9 seasons. Can you tell me why you don't want your identity to be revealed?
Oh, because there's a lot of people who don't want you guys here. And I don't want people mad at me because I'm doing this.
Right. So I guess to start off, like, I've heard rumors that like growers will pay more if you trim topless. Is that a thing? Have you come across that?
That's a huge thing. And I have trimmed with a lot of ladies who have told me stories about like, oh, they said I had to trim topless, and then it went farther and it went farther. Or a lot of times it's something simpler where they don't want you to bring your own car, so they try to isolate you. And I've heard all the bullshit before.
Tell me a bullshit line.
Oh, we don't want your car up there because there's out-of-state plates and that'll bring the cops in. Oh, we don't want your car up because we have a really long driveway and we have to pay to maintain it ourselves. And they'll have all these stories to separate you from your friends, and then you get up there and you're like sleeping in a tent outside in the middle of like November. And it's always that, oh, do you want to come in and sleep on my bed? It's okay. It's all just a ploy.
So these are sort of like little pressures to, you know, kind of entice or pressure women into sleeping with people. I did you a favor, now do me a favor.
Yeah, stuff gets crazy on the hills. The first few jobs I got here was with some really forceful guys offering me an extra pound of weed if I'll have sex with them before I turn 16.
Wow.
And then I'm talking to people and I was like crying. I'm like, this was so terrible. And they're just like, that's how he does it. There's a really carefree attitude about it.
What makes it okay here for that stuff to go on?
I think it's just that there's so much money and drugs involved. There's a lot of people out here that make hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars in a month.
So it's those kind of like big money, big operations where you see this kind of bad action?
Yeah, and it's the lack of social accountability. There's this thing called hill madness. Old men, they grow all year by themselves, so they just get kind of crazy. But if you've got a good blade and you're a strong human being, you can do it.
A good blade?
A good knife.
You carry a knife with you?
Yeah.
And if you're sexually harassed, if you're sexually assaulted, do you have any recourse to law enforcement? Like,
I've never heard of any single person going to the cops. Not saying it hasn't happened, but I've talked to a lot of people.
right. But that's just not the culture. You don't go to the cops or anything.
No, they're the enemy. But I think the people who are way up in the hills doing their really poisonous, icky stuff, that's not gonna be sustainable much longer. And I think that there's gonna be a change coming soon.
With medical weed already legal in California, and full legalization feeling like it's right around the corner, how will an agricultural sector that seems to enable sexual assault progress into acceptable working conditions? Jude Nagel and Lucinda Decker are partners who've started their own medical weed farm and are challenging the anti-woman attitude pervading the North California reefer scene.
It's a beauty, isn't it?
Yeah, it's huge. And I mean, it smells amazing.
Yep. It's a nice experience.
Yeah. This place is just like ridiculously bursting with things right now. Then you've got like your cannabis trees, you got your fruit trees, and it all sort of like overlooks this amazing valley. And so how far does like your property go?
Well, it goes just to that farthest fence you can see down there. So we're pretty close to the edge. So we see the sun and the moon rise over here.
It's gorgeous. You guys have it made here.
Yeah, but it can be stressful. Check my hands. Look how hard I work.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, look at your hands.
Yeah, I've got soft hands.
I would love your hands. There's times when I'm just like, damn, why didn't I have a husband?
Well, so like, what was the growing scene in this area like when you first started out? Was it male dominated?
Yeah, it's still male dominated, but the plant is a female. That plant has an agenda, and I think it's to equalize the gender gap. You know, when I see young men running around smoking this a lot, I'm just so happy because I think it mellows them out and it helps feminize our culture as a plant.
Huh. Is that partly the reason you came out here and did that? Do you think by sort of, founding a female-run farm that you're part of a movement of kind of demasculinizing? That sounds too bad. Like,
Balancing.
Balancing,
Yeah, we're not
exactly.
castrators.
You're not
No, we're not castrators.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
We both have sons.
So not castrating, but then, you know what I mean, like promoting a kind of
Balance.
gender balance
Yeah,
through the
yeah.
plant.
I mean, cannabis is the divine feminine energy. And isn't it interesting how it's coming back at the time when we really need this balance back?
To help this balance come about, Jude and Lucinda have started what they call a medicine circle, where other women farmers and trimmers in the area come to share ideas and formulas to unlock the healing feminine energy of the plant.
So basically, all we're going to do is make a tincture with dried herb. The liquid in this case will be 95% alcohol, so like 5 parts of this per volume to 1 part of this by weight.
Would you like to garble?
Yes, I'd love to garble. Tell me how to garble.
So garbling is just breaking it down into little pieces.
Okay. Now the real witchery begins. It's like, double boil in trouble. Like,
We have to have an initiation.
should we have an initiation?
Yes,
I'm fine
first
with
you
that.
take your clothes off.
Okay.
But you guys know that the witch burnings that went on for 300 years, was it, or more? That was all about the knowledge of healing.
And herbalists, those were herbalists who were being burned.
Those were herbal. Those are you guys, basically.
Yeah. There's a lot of herbal tradition that has been suppressed, so pretty much everything we do, we share. This is really public knowledge, it's not private.
Right.
How do you do this? This is
Okay.
very new to me.
Okay, you see that little tiny
I
thing?
do, yeah,
You
yeah.
just go.
It's a sipper.
How does it? Oh, I see. It's just it does on your sucking it. No.
Go for it, girl.
This is what the young people are bringing in, right? Or these apparatus.
These are good things.
That's what I'm really.
So does this product appeal to you guys as women?
Yes, because we can use it as Tampax holders too. Who knew?
Okay, garbling is complete. And then I guess, does it feel like you've planted a seed that's kind of beginning to flower in some fashion? Like as legalization happens, as there's more opportunity for women specifically to shape what the cannabis industry will be. How does that make you feel when you see that kind of coming into creation?
Hopeful. I really think there's something about the fact that a lot of women getting involved is significant.
It's an opportunity to shape something new. And I think women have never really had that opportunity in history before. We're actually in a position finally to bring our values and what women really represent into
our dreams,
it. Our dreams. It's bigger than just the plant.
Many large-scale pot farms in Northern California can be hostile environments for women in weed. But on Jude and Lucinda's medical grow, the culture is far safer. Bree Shannon and Bree Pond are trimmers working the harvest season here, and they've been able to bring their van onto the property, giving them the power to come and go as they please, unlike other farms we've heard about. What does it mean to work on a farm that's run and owned by women?
I'm just super appreciative that I know that I'm in a safe spot. It's a complete change. I mean, I've never had that. Usually I've slept in my tent, but being with them,
you can do whatever you want.
Be free. Yeah. I mean, I love living in my van.
So here she is.
Yes.
There she is in all of her glory.
She got a name?
Big Mama.
Big Mama.
Big Mama. Wow.
Okay, this is inside.
Yeah.
And then this is food storage, and then we built a little shelf for our books back there. And
This is your bed.
And that's our bed.
Yeah.
It's cozy.
Yeah, it's like a perfect fit if we just lay directly across.
And we did this project. We built a garden on the roof of our car. I don't know if you want to climb up there and see it.
I'd love to. Yeah.
Okay, sweet.
So this is all lettuce, just for big salads at night. We have kale and then parsley, sun gold tomatoes.
Yeah, and we've actually,
thank
this
you.
is our third crop rotation, so yeah.
Oh, good tomato.
A lot of people told us that it wasn't gonna happen. They're like, I'm a professional gardener and that's gonna be too heavy and
Too heavy on your van, you
it's
can't
not
do
gonna
it.
work. And
You're
I'm
not gonna be
like,
able to get enough water.
Right.
And just, why
Make
not
it work.
try it?
Yeah.
That's the only way you're gonna figure it out.
But yeah, it's our little home and garden on wheels.
Cool.
We feel so blessed to be able to spend our lives the way we do. We're spoiled here.
After sort of accruing all this knowledge by working with you and Lucinda, does it make you want to get into the industry in a more robust fashion?
Yeah, absolutely.
When I was young, I always had these ideas like, I'm gonna grow a bunch of cannabis and make a bunch of money and buy an island and start a community and all this stuff. And then I started trimming and I'm like, no way am I getting into this. Like people on the hill during this time, they can go crazy. So it kind of backed me off, but being with them, I've opened up to the fact of I will grow cannabis. I'm just grateful to be around it because I've never been around women that are running the show.
Yeah, we never realized the difference that it did make. It's really empowering being around those two.
Did you guys kind of look up to them as role models in a certain way?
Oh my gosh, yeah, we kind of see us in later years. It's really weird.
Uh-huh.
And they've said the same thing. They're like, wow, it's kind of just divine timing. I feel us meeting them and it's amazing.
I agree. I just feel like this is a vortex of goodness and love, and
it's a sacred space.
Loka samashta sukino bhavantu. Loka samashta.
Trimmers like the Breeze have found a haven here in the Humboldt fog, thanks to the pioneering efforts of women like Jude and Lucinda. I wanted to know if the plant's feminine spirit has begun to tip the rest of the pod industry into balance. So I'm headed to the city, where new entrepreneurs and new customers are reinventing the way weed is consumed, to meet Juliana Carella, a small marijuana business owner.
Okay, so start off with the arms up.
As a former yoga instructor, Juliana combined her love of wellness and weed to found Auntie Dolores in 2008, a marijuana edibles company with a focus on health.
So I was gonna make a yogurt smoothie with some Auntie Dolores glazed pecans.
Glazed with what?
Glazed with cannabis oil. Cheers.
Cheers. That's delicious.
It's really more like a milkshake, but way healthier.
How is it healthy? I mean,
Well, everything that we experience in terms of health goes back to diet, I think.
so instead of like a shot of wheatgrass, we have like some THC
Yeah.
pecans. So how many milligrams of like THC do you usually put in one of these smoothies?
Like 50 or 60 normally.
Wow. Is that a lot? I mean, I guess like if the unit of measure were bong hits, how many bong hits is that?
It's probably at least 5 or 6 really good bong hits with some quality herb.
Cool. That's awesome. Is this kind of how you got into the cannabis industry in a way? Sort of experimenting with things that work for you?
Yeah, totally. I grew up in San Francisco and cannabis was all around me. And I figured out how to cook with it when I was a teenager. And so I was a professional dancer and I noticed right away that there was this analgesic effect.
Pain relief.
Yeah. I didn't know I was going to end up in the cannabis industry. It really wasn't that well planned out. But my friends were just encouraging me to take some of the products I was already making to the dispensary. You know, we started to develop products that were unique enough to set us apart. We sort of grew organically and the brand gained popularity all on its own.
From its humble beginnings, Auntie Dolores has grown to include 3 kitchens in the warehouse district of Oakland. She now supplies 14 marijuana products to over 250 dispensaries, with plans to expand further. How do you put a beard net on?
There's like little ear holes. That goes there. All right, lab coats.
Thank you. So what are we making now?
We're doing the savory pretzels. These are a vegan product. They're made with a savory sauce.
You can kind of see the striation.
Yeah, so this is the coconut oil with the cannabis oil infused in it. It's all measured to be exactly what one batch is supposed to yield. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go.
So should I start mixing as soon as you do that?
This is our very first savory product. People didn't want to try it for like a year. They're like, why are we going to eat something that has no sugar in it? And I was like, because you might be diabetic or you might have cancer or I don't know.
Right.
And then it's like, we can't keep them on the shelves.
Are there reasons that you think that this is the time for women in the weed industry?
Well, one of the things that occurred to me is that if we didn't have prohibition, women wouldn't have the same opportunity that we do now.
You're right, it's kind of a trip because
Yeah.
it's like, if had it not been illegal, then
We wouldn't even be talking right now. I'm not saying that prohibition has been good for women, but if you look at it historically, right now is the most opportune time for women to be involved.
if pot had been legal in the 20th century, then large corporations would likely run the weed industry, like they do for other consumer goods. In this alternative universe, women's fortune in the weed biz would be like women's in any other, which is to say, not so great. As of 2015, only 5% of Fortune 500 companies have women CEOs, and less than a third of American businesses are owned by women. And for men and women holding comparable jobs, women still make only 79 cents on the dollar to men. As bad as those stats sound, women-run businesses have grown in number by 74% between 1997 and 2015, making right now the best time in American history to be a woman starting a business.
It's probably the first time in history this will ever happen, and probably will never happen again.
And it's like a happy accident in a way, but it is totally
Yeah.
accidental. It all sort of came together to make now such an intriguing time.
Yeah, I think so.
I'm headed to a direct marketing event for women interested in buying weed, where Juliana hopes to find new customers for her health-focused marijuana edibles business.
I think the energy is going to be pretty exciting. It's such a lively group. You know, I mean, I've never hung out with a bunch of cannabis women and didn't have a good time, you know?
All right, we're gonna get started.
Hey guys, welcome to Synchronicity. Some of you might know Juliana. We're gonna explore some of her delicious edibles. So, yeah.
Hi, everybody. Really excited to be here with an awesome group. So I'm gonna pass around some of our signature product. I'll pass the pecans around first. They're vegan, gluten-free, they're totally healthy. This is a 100% gourmet product, even without the cannabis.
Okay, so I've tried those and they're amazing. I love them and I want to eat more than 4. And it's really hard to stop myself.
Well, that's the problem with edibles. Unfortunately, one bad experience and you lose that patient forever. And so our whole rebrand process was based on the fact that we know that patients need to understand what a dose is. And if they don't get that, we have no chance of legitimizing this industry. We feel like the 10 milligram dose is like an intelligent place to start. You could actually try all the products I'm passing around and still stay within the 10 milligram if you do one piece of everything.
So can you describe to me what Synchronicity is?
Every party, we have 2 hosts that represent different brands. And the idea is we give these brands exposure to women that maybe won't necessarily go into the dispensary. So it's a way to create this unique conversation between a brand and a patient.
But we also have, alongside that, the Synchronicity box, which features a sample size product that we have at the parties.
I think Birchbox has definitely been an inspiration to us, and that's the subscription beauty package bag that gets sent out once a month.
Yeah, exactly. And so you don't just get the box, you get the community and you get the education.
Why is that important for knowledge to be shared? Why does a space like this need to exist?
It really doesn't exist otherwise, for one thing. There just aren't environments where women can sample and ask questions. Like, I'm premenopausal and I'm experiencing this kind of reaction. Where can I find a therapy for that? Or I can ask all those questions that I might be embarrassed to ask a 25-year-old guy behind the counter at a dispensary.
So the herbs that are in here, ashwagandha, vidarikanda, they've been used forever to protect male bodies from the negative effects of long-term use of cannabis.
What are the negative sexual consequences?
I'm pretty sure it has to do with sperm count.
Okay.
I'm not really sure of all the details.
Oh, just straight up evidence. I thought it was a safe space, guys. But what's the group like this analog for dudes? You know what I mean? Like,
there are plenty of safe environments for men to get together with other men, and it's probably been going on for hundreds of years. It's called your regular time hanging out with each other. This is about women dealing with the stigma of women being cannabis consumers. Can the woman cannabis consumer be respected in the household as a parent, as a professional, if she's also a cannabis consumer? And we're here to say that yes, she can. Trust us.
Nearly twice as many men than women describe themselves as consistent consumers of cannabis, according to a government survey from 2012. Whether women actually smoke less than men or just don't admit it, this evident gender gap points to a powerful stigma. So how was it? Have you seen this community come together at these events?
Yeah, totally. It's also really exciting to see stigmas just disappear into women who may have never turned to cannabis in the past.
So are there other obstacles that are keeping women out of the cannabis space?
Well, something we struggle with as an industry is just the typical stoner babe.
Yeah.
The sexist display of women and body parts. But if you go to a cannabis trade show or convention now, sometimes you can't even tell if you're at a cannabis convention or if you're at a porn convention. And I think that might deter a female customer from the get-go. I'm more interested in advancing the industry than anything else and legitimizing it, and I think just having more of this is all part of that.
While Juliana and women like her are trying to push the marijuana industry towards legitimacy, they see an obstacle to expansion.
Hold on. First night wake up, then I break up. Little bit of weed, so you can bake up. Discount stacks, you're taking a pay cut. And sex with the mom, you put in the makeup.
Using women's bodies to sell weed and a lifestyle of stonerdom is a widely used marketing tactic across the industry. Many women believe these hyper-sexualized depictions subjugate women and discourages women consumers. I wanted to speak to one of those stoner babes. So I'm here to meet Madzilla. She's a model and kind of a stoner icon in the making. And she's here in Denver to do a photo shoot for her wildly popular Instagram account.
Alrighty, so let me get dressed really quick. So I'm gonna just see where I should cut this.
Maybe here?
I wanna have some under boob.
Oh, I see.
Maybe I'll cut it like that.
All right, yeah, you seem to be the expert on this.
Right here. You wanna help me hold this shirt?
So you're sort of like creating your brand right here.
Yeah, definitely. Like with my brand, I want to just keep it clean, but like rock star, fun,
Right.
do different stuff, you know? So I'm gonna just try this on real quick.
All right, I won't look either.
No, you can look. I mean, I'm more naked than this on my Instagram, so it's all right.
And if someone were to say, like, being so forward with your sexuality can be hurtful to the image of women in the weed industry, like, how do you respond to that kind of criticism?
I mean, I get that criticism like literally every day. I hate when people are just so judgmental. Like, quit judging so much and go fucking smoke a blunt and like be chill.
Perfect. Good.
Let me get a little underboob in there.
Right there, hold it. Perfect.
Okay, Madzilla, you gotta teach me how to do that.
You want to see the pose? Come
Yeah.
on in here. It's kind of hard to balance. You gotta get on the tippy toes, and then you gotta look back, poke the butt out, suck your stomach in, hold on to this so you don't eat shit,
Then look sexy.
and look sexy.
Right there. That was it.
Oh my God, we look so. Look at your face. You did good. You're soaking it up quick.
I'm learning from the best. When I see your Instagram feed and I see these like beautiful photos of you, so often you're kind of enveloped in this like beautiful haze of smoke.
Yeah, the weed smoking is like totally an expression of myself. I'm really just kind of like in your face, like I'm really blunt and open, you know?
You're really,
Clearly.
You're really blunt.
Yeah, I'm really blunt about my blunts.
Yeah.
I just want it to be to where like, it's just, Madzilla smokes weed. We know who she is. She's gonna do what she wants.
Right.
As a female though, you know, like when you go see guys in concert, like Wiz Khalifa, they're not gonna tell him not to smoke, you know?
Yeah, no, that's interesting
So-
because a lot of sort of like male icons in either music or art or anything, like they get a free pass to do some
Yeah,
stuff.
it's been hard to just see guys just get away with everything, and it's not accepted for a girl. I'm like, nah, I'm just really straightforward, and I think that's why I've gained a lot of respect.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I'm like a big reason why a lot of women feel comfortable smoking weed and like just being open about it. I get emails and DMs and like stuff all the time of people that are just inspired, or they're like, I felt embarrassed that my friends don't smoke weed, or whatever it is. So I think I definitely like have a big say-so in the culture for like where I'm at right now.
Madzilla has created such a strong following on Instagram. She now has a merchandise line and is coming out with her own strain of weed, Madzilla OG. Additionally, she gets paid to host club events and to model.
My name is Devin. This is my friend Simone. Oh, what's up?
I traveled with her to a local dispensary in Denver, where her virtual fans got to see her in the flesh.
You could touch it. In person, the girls go more crazy. Girls will be like showing me their boobs. Ooh. They like look at me like, oh shit, you were a stripper, and then you're like modeling and you smoke weed and you have all these followers. Like, I think it's inspiring for women to look at me. Team Zilla. I got, some posters for sale, a couple shirts. I definitely have a lot of guy fans. They're just on some other shit, you know what I'm saying? I know what I got. I'm using everything I got to make it to the top.
Thank you for waiting out here.
What appeals to you about her?
She's not afraid to just let the world know, like, this is me. If you don't like it, that's okay. As a woman, sometimes we're looked down upon for smoking weed, just having tattoos and stuff like that. And I love it that she can just be so free and open with it like she is.
That's awesome. I feel like her different style relates to a lot more people. She's a good role model for people that want to be different and still be in this industry.
Keep weed weird, right?
Yes, exactly. Keep weed weird.
After meeting Madzilla's fans, I realized her appeal isn't limited to dudes keeping the patriarchy alive one like at a time, but that she brings together women who might be put off by weed's lurch to the mainstream. Regardless of how anyone feels about her frank sexuality, Madzilla is one of the chorus of women's voices, calling for more opportunity for women in weed and pushing their cause forward. Growing a business requires cultivating relationships and building a network of other vendors across the supply chain. Without strong networks, you risk competitive disadvantage. So I've come to Women Grow, the first of its kind old boys club for women in weed.
Thank you all so much for coming out for this networking event. We have been able to grow to over 35 cities in just 1 year. And I know Women Grow wouldn't be here right now without the team we've built together. So without further ado, Jasmine Hupp. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. It's such a pleasure to be in front of you.
A year into this experiment, we've learned a couple of things. We know on the medical side, women purchase 93% of over-the-counter medicines. And then heck, on the fun Friday night side, women are currently purchasing more alcohol in every category except for beer. For all these reasons, including that women control, 85% of consumer spending in this country, we know that women are going to be at the center as customers for this industry. And we know the people best equipped to create products and services that women love happen to be women like you in this room. So, a lot of people come in and they say, how do I become a leader in this industry? Simply declare yourself the fuck in charge, right? Because you're gonna go in there and you're gonna fucking kill it. So when they go back to check the record, should she have been CEO? The answer is, fuck yes, she should have been. So I want to teach you something, and it's called sharing your successes. It means what went well. Do I need to have them move the chairs before?
Yes, everyone should stand up and pick up the chair you're in and put it against the back wall.
Hi. How are you? Krishna, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
So what's your success story?
I started as a trimmer.
Oh, really?
And to go from trimmer to bartender to manager to now owning my own company, I mean, 25 years old. That's huge.
Congrats.
Thank you.
And has Women Grow helped you?
Oh yeah, it's a group of radical inclusion.
Yeah.
Even though it's your first time, they're going to pull you right in and say, oh, we're doing the cha-cha slide, jumping in.
What is Women Grow about for you, and how does it help?
It is so empowering. People come to these events, they get to see somebody that they can relate to, and having that support is huge.
It smells pretty good in here. Can I have a drag? Oh, thank you. Can you tell me about your background? Have you been working in the cannabis space your whole career, or where did you come from?
So I come out of entrepreneurship in tech and retail, and I got into the cannabis industry because of my father. I'm raised by traditional hippies. My dad's a jazz musician, my mom's an artist. So I grew up in an environment where cannabis consumption was really a normalized alternative to alcohol. For me, this is about combining my business background with those hippie values.
And do you think that the cannabis industry could sort of evolve to become an equal industry for men and women?
Absolutely. There's no glass ceiling in this industry. There's no decades of us serving coffee instead of being at the head of the boardroom. So definitely an environment where cannabis could be the first industry not dominated by men in America.
And what's the landscape look like now? And I know it's difficult because there aren't a lot of trustworthy numbers out there, but what's your best guess?
So when we started Women Grow a year ago, most people told us that it was about 1 in 10 chance that a business owner was going to be a woman in the industry. The most recent numbers we pulled from Washington state license holders, 25% of them are women. And then our anecdotal research in Oregon is showing about 40% of the businesses have women on the ownership team. So we do think we see more women in the states that are small business friendly, and then we see a lot more men in the states that require these huge pools of capital to compete.
And that might be kind of a, foreshadowing to the future. When there's more sort of big businesses coming in, it might be even harder for women to kind of get in on the ground floor.
Absolutely. We think this is a special time where there's a lot of opportunity to compete in what will soon be a big money game. Now is that time for women to step up and bring female leadership to the table.
As more states legalize and the prospect of full federal legalization draws ever nearer, these female ganjapreneurs now have a shrinking window in which to establish their businesses and grow them to a scale to withstand the arrival of big business. I've come to the outskirts of Denver to meet Jamie Perino, a weed tycoon who owns 3 dispensaries. To maximize profits, she's recently begun growing her own supply, harnessing the skills she learned growing up on a ranch in Wyoming. When you grew up in Wyoming, were you around horses a lot?
I was, yeah. I grew up riding horses, doing a little bit of rodeoing.
You did a little bit of rodeoing?
Yeah, I was a rodeo queen.
What does that mean?
I rode horses, did the barrels, the poles. It was part of the whole experience up there. You thought marijuana made your hands stink, just wait. Oh, jeez.
Oh, yeah. This horse took
I know.
offense.
He's like, I do not stink. What are you talking about?
How did you first get into the weed industry?
It was actually quite by accident. I had a friend that had been in the industry medically, and when Amendment 64 looked like it was going to pass, he'd started trying to find some investors. So I cashed out all my IRAs, my 401ks, my savings account, and totally invested it all into what is now Euflora.
What were you doing before you got into cannabis? What job did you quit?
I was
to do
in the
this?
building industry for about 15 years. I went from selling toilets to pots, so.
Pots to pots.
Exactly, pots to pots. You know, I never, in my wildest dreams, would have thought this is where I'd be 10 years ago.
How many plants do you have in here right now?
Right now we have about 600 plants. We just finished our very first harvest. All told, when we get up to speed, this one phase of our grow will have about 1,000 plants and we
Wow.
keep having a cycle.
And these yellow guys. And look at the buds on them. They're just like foot long and thick.
The smell, and you
Right.
can just smell it. I mean, it's amazing. Growing up on a ranch, I grew up with a lot of cattle.
Uh-huh.
And my dad always told me that was the smell of money, but this is now my new smell of money.
This is the smell of money,
This
right?
is the smell of money. So are you ready to do a little trimming?
Yeah, let's trim some of your bud. In the early days, did you do trimming stuff like when you guys first started?
I did. And I didn't know what I was doing, but I got nicknamed the fastest trimmer in the West.
Okay, well,
It's very-
you're gonna have to teach me because I
All
don't
right, so
actually
you're gonna
know
grab a pair of here, take a pair of scissors, hit the big leaves here, and trim those off.
Okay.
Trimming gives you lots of time to think and contemplate a lot of life's issues. I didn't tell my family or my friends what I was doing until
Oh, really?
we actually got the license and we were about a week out from opening the store.
Why is that?
Well, my mom works for the sheriff's office. My sister's married to a sheriff. It was not a topic we talk about at Thanksgiving. My mom found out because she actually Googled my name, and I get a text message and she says, "Do you have a twin sister or are you opening a marijuana store?" And I about died right then and there. Now they understand it's a legitimate business.
Right. Am I doing a good job here? I feel like I'm...
We got to trim up a little bit, but you did pretty good. I mean, I think somebody probably come into the store and they'd pay a pretty good amount of money for that.
And so, I mean, where did you grow for your dispensaries before you opened this facility?
Well, we actually bought wholesale from everybody. So this is going to be a huge change for us. When you're growing your own product, the amount of money you're going to be able to save will be huge.
Right. How big do you want to get?
Well, right now, this facility, we're in a 7,200 square feet.
Mhm.
We're going to have 2 more phases, and when we're all said and done, we'll have about 25,000 square feet of actual greenhouse grow.
25,000 square
Yeah.
feet? Jamie is expanding the production side of her company at an aggressive rate to cement her place as a female marijuana industry leader before the challenge of big business arrives. But I wanted to know about her distribution side and whether she's been able to draw the elusive female customer out of the cannabis closet. I'm in downtown Denver, visiting Jamie's flagship Euflora dispensary to find out what she's doing differently to attract the female market.
Let's go over here and I'll show you how we're trying to change the customer experience here at Euflora. We have 20 different strains of flower. You've got in your hand like a little scanner. Let's say you want 1 gram of the cannatonic.
All
You
right.
go ahead and put this on there.
Boom. All right, but what are you trying to do with these items?
So the purpose of this is it's going to give you a little bit of the product description, what it smells like, what it smokes like. So instead of just going one-on-one with the bud tender, you can move at your own pace. So we can have about 3 times as many customers in the store with about 1/3 of the staff as a normal dispensary. And then you go over here, and this is where we have a lot of the accessories that you would use. We've got a lot of novelty pipes because people obviously can't take this home with them when they leave Colorado. And then over here, we have all the different kinds of edibles.
The display is really pretty. Like, each thing has sort of like its own little niche.
Yeah, you know, all these are jewelry cases we actually got from a department store that was going under. We wanted to feel like an upscale Nordstrom's.
Yeah, right. How important is design in attracting women as customers?
I mean, I think it's absolutely imperative. When I first went into dispensaries, it was just not a place that I felt welcoming to me as a female. And I can't tell you how many people actually do come up to me and say, "This is weird, but I feel safe in your dispensary." We've been dubbed the Apple Store of cannabis. So to me, that's the biggest compliment in the entire world. I mean, who doesn't love an Apple Store? So I want to change the face of the industry, not just for comfort of women or anybody else, but also just to prove legitimacy of this business to everybody.
So not only do you need women to come into the door, but women as entrepreneurs help move the industry forward.
Absolutely, that's where I think our place is. We need to have women here. I mean, they're, half the population, so we need to make sure that they feel comfortable coming in here and want to purchase. So the more comfortable you become, the more likely people are going to be voting it into other states and allowing it to spread across the U.S. Obviously, we've got Washington, Oregon's coming on board. There's 23 states right now that are medical, with many more putting it on the ballot in 2016. I mean, in 10 years, the hope is that we may not even be talking about this anymore because it's going to be across the U.S. and it'll be a normal, everyday conversation.
Right.
In the big picture, this is the future of cannabis right here.
With her Apple Store of weed, Jamie's making a safe space for women customers to draw in the untapped female market. And by integrating her supply chain, she's cementing her status as a female industry leader before big business arrives.
grow medical cannabis for my family and my friends. Oh, it is so wonderful how we can heal each other with these sweet green flowers in our yards, tended by our loving hearts. Yes, it is so beautiful. We're healing one another as we're climbing up the garden wall together, hand in hand. Every farmer doing no harm is just here to take a stand.
The idea of making the weed industry gender equal isn't just sort of like a discrete small goal, but I think it's like a part of a larger struggle to create a more balanced world. And sure, it's just weed. It's just people growing a plant on the side of a mountain. It's just people making edibles. It's just products that people are consuming. But it's the thought that goes into those products. It's the intent of the people who are making this industry. They're creating their own reality. And if you kind of say something enough times, if you keep repeating it over and over again, then it might become true. There are still obstacles within the world of weed to overcome, but if women can carve out their own space, that might be the key to national legalization, to the end of pot prohibition writ large. So big money might come, corporatization might happen, but if in this crucial time period, there can be some precedent sort of set that this is an industry for women, that women are a consumer for any number of reasons. If they can get it right now, maybe that'll be a model for how to get it right in the future.
Let's sing together now. We grow medical cannabis for our family and our friends. Oh, it is so wonderful how we can heal each other with these sweet green flowers in our yards, tended by our loving hearts. Yes, it is so beautiful how we can heal each other. Yes, it is so wonderful, we're healing sisters, brother. Yes, it is so beautiful, we're here to heal each other.
Yeah!
Love for all.